Welcome to our video on April 2020 astrology forecast. The morning star of Venus, which is sometimes associated with the Egyptian goddess Hathor, gets very clever about love when she ingresses into the sign of Gemini, the twins, on the 3rd of the month. Now, Venus, the morning star Venus, has a brother, and another morning star, and her brother is named Mercury, and this morning star brother Mercury is going to make very foolish decisions when he enters into Aries on the 11th of April. And then he's going to become rather opinionated when he moves into Taurus on the 27th of the month. So sometimes they associate Thoth with Mercury, because understand that all of the angels like Raphael and Michael and all of these angels are actually, they originally were Egyptian gods and goddesses. That's where they came from, and then they were turned into angels. Originally, the Ark of the Covenant that has the two angels on top, originally it was two goddesses, and it was originally a device from Egypt, which Moses was an Egyptian prince and magician, and he brought that technology and that religion with him, and then he sort of just changed the language and changed some of the figures, but it's the same exact, it's the same exact system, really, if you get to the core of it. So there's a lot of very strong, powerful connections with the Egyptian gods and goddesses. And some people say that they each stand for, each of the Egyptian gods and goddesses stand for the chromosomes that make up an immortal body, or a god or goddess's body. Now, there's also going to be a full moon happening in the sign of Libra, the scales, and that's going to affect your very committed relationships on the 8th of the month, and that's going to happen at 2:36 a.m. Universal Time Coordinated using tropical astrology. Now, the healing musical note about for the ancient Western arrangement for the sign of Libra, the scales, is D. It's a musical tone D. And we're going to play that for you here. D. As in D as in David. Now, on April 23rd, there is a new moon in the sign of Taurus, the bull. And that's going to influence your money. And that's going to happen at 2:26 a.m. UTC. And the healing musical note in the ancient Western array for Taurus, sign of Taurus the bull, is E. E. All right. Now we're going to give you, with this video, we're going to give you all the important planetary aspects, planetary ingresses, and the archangels, including astrology charts, horoscope houses, station changes, and zodiac angels also, and coming up. I'm Pastor Rosemary, the Astrology Angel. I'm a Rosicrucian seer, biblical astrologer, Christian psychic, and Gnostic mystic. And this is a Readings by Rosemary angelic transmission. Now, disclaimers in order here. High magic should be used with all mindfulness, since powerful forces of manifestation are unleashed. This is intended exclusively for entertainment purposes. Now, we're going to get to April's full moon, which is called Seed Moon by Wiccans. So we have a diagram for you here for the seed moon, and the seed moon, again, that is for Wiccans. That's the full moon for April. And the name for neo-pagans for April's full lunar phase is awakening moon. Sort of when nature sort of begins to wake up from her sleep during the winter time. Now, colonial Americans call this a planter's moon, again, about planting seeds. Algonquins name this pink moon for April. Now, April's bright moon is a month when the season of springtime in the northern hemisphere appears to be mature enough for farmers or gardeners really to sort of cast or to plant their seeds into the rich soil. Now nature is beginning to awaken from a long and leisurely winter sleep. Now the guardian angelic forces for April we'll get to in a minute. We just want to reiterate here that the full moon for April, the seed moon, is in Libra on the 8th of the month. All right, the 8th of the month. And the new moon for April is on the 23rd of the month, and it is in the sign of Taurus the bull. Taurus the bull. All right, now, so again, we're going to talk about the guardian angelic forces, and we're going to show you which Egyptian gods and goddesses they're associated with, just so that you know that really all religions are basically the same. They just name things differently, but they're all basically the same. And we're going to include again the elemental archangel Raphael, who is similar to Thoth. Yes, that's because Libra the scales is a cardinal air sign, or a fire of air. Cardinal air is fire of air. And the elemental archangel Uriel also, which can be associated with more of an earth god that would be more akin to Anubis, that kind of an earthy god, Anubis. Taurus the bull is fixed earth sign, and that is air of earth. Fixed earth is air of earth. So you can use Raphael, if you like angels, for Libra, for the full moon, or you can use instead Thoth, if you prefer an Egyptian god or goddess. And you can also, for the new moon in Taurus the bull, you can use Uriel for an angel, or you could use Anubis, if you like, or the Egyptian goddess Geb, G-E-B. If you can also use that one, or Anubis, if you want to get a more earthy sort of a feeling. Sometimes they associate Anubis with Mercury too. You can sort of switch these things around sometimes a little bit. Now, April of 2020, we're going to go over for you the following lunar phases. Again, we're going to give you planetary ingresses, natural horoscope houses. We're also going to give you station changes, planetary aspects, elemental and planetary guardian archangels and zodiac angels using the universal time coordinated. And it's basically the same as Greenwich Mean Time using tropical astrology. So first we're going to, just before we get there, we are also going to just briefly show you these lunar phases of the full and the new moon. And we have here again on the 8th of the month of April, here we have in Libra your full moon. And see, Libra's here in the natural 7th house of law and commitment. Natural 7th house of law and commitment. And we have for the new moon, we have Taurus is where the new moon is going to be residing, and that's on the 23rd. That's the 23rd of the month of April. Okay, and that's Taurus is in the natural 2nd house. Natural means when Aries is the ascendant. Okay, so because Aries is what starts it's cardinal fire. It's what starts, initiates, that initiatory spark. And so Taurus would be the 2nd house, natural 2nd house, and that would be about your money and your possessions. A new moon. A new moon is actually when you would plant a seed, where a full moon is something like blood moons and that kind of thing on full moons. That's because that's more of a time when it's not really fertile, but it's good for other things. So I have some videos I made about the moons and planting and all that, but you can just go ahead and look at those if you like. But just so you know that the energy of a new moon is not bad, it's very good. It's very receptive, and it's gentle as well. And it's more feminine, whereas on the full moon it's more masculine. All right. Now, next what we're going to get to is we're going to go over the ingresses and the station changes for you. And let's see, we're going to do the planetary aspects after that. All right, now on the 3rd of April 2020, we have Venus ingress the sign of Gemini, the twins, which is akin to the natural 3rd house of transportation and communication, and the planetary archangel Anael of Venus, who is similar to Hathor, is going to visit the abode of zodiac angel Umbriel for Gemini the twins, on the 8th of the month of April. Again, we had gone over this, but we'll just mention it one more time. The full moon in Libra. I'll put it back up here for you. Full moon in Libra here. And that's going to be, again, in the natural 7th house of law and commitment. The planetary archangel Gabriel is going to visit the dwelling of zodiac angel Zuriel, who is of Libra. And Gabriel is for the moon. I don't have a statue for the moon Khonshu at this point. I'm planning on getting one. But the elemental archangel for Libra is guardian angel Raphael, who presides over all the air signs. Now, the god Set is not necessarily a moon god, but he does rule over the setting of the sun. So I do have an image of Set, which I like very much. He's got the sleepy eyes because it's the setting of the sun. It's the evening, and he's the one that throws his arrow and strikes down the god Horus, the sun god Horus, which we get hours from. He's for the setting sun. That's where we get these kind of things from. Okay? And he's what gives us night. And so you can utilize him if you want to, I suppose, for sort of a lunar energy, especially, probably any moon actually could probably utilize that if you wanted to. All right, now again, April's full moon is called seed moon. It's when the seeds are actually being planted. And some seeds will be coming up in some locations. Now, neo-pagans name this full lunar phase an awakening moon. Again, nature is just beginning to wake up. And colonial Americans call it Planter's Moon. And then we have April 11th, 2020, we have Mercury ingress the sign of Aries, the ram, which is similar to the natural 1st house of self and appearances. And planetary archangel, who is Raphael, again, similar to Thoth, visits habitation of zodiac angel Melchiel of Aries. And on the 19th, we have the sun ingressing the sign of Taurus, the bull, which is akin to the natural 2nd house of money and possessions. And the planetary archangel Michael visits the abode of zodiac angel Asmodel. Now, Michael is for the sun, and one of the sun gods we have to show you is Osiris. Osiris is a form of a sun god, like there's Ra, Amun, there's a moon Ra, and Osiris is a form of vegetation and also a sun god for the Egyptian counterpart for that. All right, now we have on the 23rd, again, we have the new moon in Taurus, the bull, which is analogous to natural 2nd house, money and possessions. And the planetary archangel Gabriel, you could use Set, visits the dwelling of zodiac angel Asmodel, who is for Taurus, the bull. An elemental archangel for Taurus is guardian angel Uriel, who presides over all of the earth signs, and for that you can use Anubis for Uriel. For the earthy type of energy, you can use Anubis. Now, Mercury will ingress into Taurus on the 27th of April. So Mercury, associated with Thoth, again, so Mercury has 2 ingresses this month. So on the 27th, the ingress is into Taurus, and it's similar to the natural 2nd house of money and possessions. And planetary archangel Raphael, similar to Thoth, visits habitation of zodiac angel Asmodel of Taurus. Now, regarding the station changes, on April 25th, there is a retrograde. Pluto is going to turn retrograde, okay, while transiting through the sign of Capricorn, the goat. Now, what that will cause, it's going to cause, because since Capricorn, the goat, has a divine tone I use, expect moderate transformative events to occur, granting sort of you a lot of wiggle room in the areas of socioeconomic class, influence, and popularity. You'll be able to improve that. Utilize these tools, the tools you already have, that you already have been given, because we've got a lot of technology at our fingertips these days, to improve your clout and also to improve the fame or status of yourself or somebody that you're promoting. If you're somebody who promotes other people or manages other people, this Pluto retrograde, while in Capricorn, is very good for that. It's transformative, but it will give you some wiggle room to climb up the socioeconomic ladder, get more influence and more popularity, or someone that you're trying to manage. Now, the planetary aspects charts we're going to go over for you, and we're going to first look at April 4th, 2020. April 4th. Okay. Now we're going to pull this in just a tad for you. And what we have here for the 4th is we have Mercury. We have the planet Mercury in the sign of Pisces, conjunct Neptune in Pisces as well. They're both in Pisces. And that's going to cause a contracting sort of messaging and texting and calling, or somehow having communication with others and delivering goods and services is going to become upset, even with Mercury direct, due to there's going to be too many imaginative and innovative methods devised with which to do so becoming available. So with so many ways to message and call and text and so many different places to do that, even though Mercury is direct, this conjunction, Mercury in Pisces and Neptune in Pisces, is actually going to cause some upset in the delivering of goods and services and contacting others because of too many very imaginative and innovative methods. Too many. So if you try to be very particular about how you want to be contacted and stick to it, and don't feel pressured to contact people in ways you don't feel comfortable with, then you can do fine with other people who feel the same as you do about that particular, whatever transaction you're attempting to make. Also on April 4th, 2020, Venus in Gemini. Here, we have Venus in Gemini trine on the blue line here. We're going to have that Saturn in Aquarius on the blue line here, Saturn in Aquarius. And that's going to cause very expressive and fun talks with romantic interests, which will help to bring out their hidden avant-garde peculiarities, or their quirks. So get ready for oddballs to come out of the woodwork during this Venus in Gemini trine Saturn in Aquarius on the 4th. Now, there's also a goddess, Egyptian goddess, for the planet Saturn. So it's Cassiel is the angel for the Hebrew, and Christian theologies. But the goddess Ma'at is the goddess that is for Saturn in the Egyptian pantheon. And actually the 42 laws of Ma'at are most likely where they got the 10 Commandments from. You see, it's all from Egypt, all of it. All right, now, and they say that Egypt got theirs from Atlantis and Lemuria, but that's a whole nother thing. So on the 5th, still on the upper chart here, we have Jupiter in Capricorn conjunct Pluto in Capricorn. And these are both here, Pluto and Jupiter in Capricorn. That's a conjunction. And that will cause a gaining power with discipline. And superior morals becomes long but but a true road towards accomplishing goals through balancing one's personal aura with ley line grids of the earth. So a time when you can utilize that kind of information, if you know a lot about those kinds of things, would be a very helpful time for you. Okay, now we're going to go to the chart, which is about the 7th of April. We're going to make that easier for you to see here in a moment. And there you go. All right, so on the 7th of April, we have Mars in Aquarius here. Mars in Aquarius, square Uranus in Taurus. Mars in Aquarius square Uranus in Taurus on the red line there. Uranus in Taurus, and that's going to cause a rivalry in who can be more accommodating to friends and customers and clients. It's going to frustrate those who desire urgent social uprising by slowing them down. Okay, so getting into competition of like businesses getting into competitions of like who can be more accommodating to the customers or the clients, to friends, who can be, what people can be more accommodating to their friends, and what people can be more accommodating to their clients and customers. It's going to frustrate people who want urgent social uprisings, who by slowing down that kind of thing. So people who want something to happen real quick and real dramatic are going to get it's going to be frustrated by people who want to be more accommodating. Okay. Now also on the 7th we have Mercury in Pisces sextile Pluto in Capricorn. We have Mercury in Pisces on the green line sextile Pluto in Capricorn. Pluto in Capricorn. And that's going to cause getting in touch with and calling on friends and family members is made manifest when personal objectives are reached and inner synchronicity is attained. Okay. Now we're going to bring it up for you here a little bit. Okay. And we're going to now go to another chart, and we're going to get to the 8th of April. And I'm going to get this one here for you. Okay. Now this one is for the 8th on the top here, up above. See if we can bring it in. What happens when we bring it a little closer? Yeah, it still works. Okay, very good. Now, we're going to talk about Mercury is in Pisces. So we have Mercury in Pisces the fish, sextile Jupiter in Capricorn, and that's sextile on the green line. And yes, we're going to, in the description box, we have a link that'll take you right to, you can see these, and Pastor Rosemary, the Astrology Angel of Facebook, it's a blog, and it brings the pictures right up for you, so you can, and it also will have these spelled out for you and written out for you, and you can see that up real close and personal. Okay, and that's going to cause that Mercury in Pisces, sextile Jupiter in Capricorn, is going to cause messaging and being able to message and going out with friends makes it easier to gain clout, and that's obvious, by demonstrating high quality principles and fair judgment. Okay, fair judgment and high quality principles. You demonstrate that you're someone who has good principles, and that you're fair-minded and you have good judgment, and you'll be able to get that kind of reputation by messaging other people and going on outings with other people and friends, and then you can kind of demonstrate that these two things should go together. That actually that gets you more friends rather than less. Some people say that nice guys finish last, but in reality, if you're confident, nice might not be the greatest word to use, because, and I think in there's a language where it means stupid, but I think it's in French or something, I'm not sure, but I heard that. But anyway, the point is, if you're fair-minded and you have good morals, that's fine, as long as you're not really being that, as long as you're not being insecure. If you're confident and secure in yourself, that actually goes over very well. Now on the 11th on the 11th of the month. That's going to be, this chart is from the 11th to the 14th, okay, 11th to the 14th. And that is going to bring us to Mercury in Aries. Mercury in Aries here. Sextile Saturn in Aquarius on the green line here. And that's going to make coming up with quick decisions, not well thought out, you know, they're sort of rash decisions, will increase the frequency of bizarre people appearing in your life. So watch out for that. And on the April 14, 2020, we have Sun in Aries. Sun in Aries here. Sun in Aries, the Ram. Square on the red line, Pluto in Capricorn, the Goat. Impatient behavior towards others will cause rivalry and sort of struggles and competitions with those who pride themselves on possessing a more contemplative and serene approach to life. So that's when people with different sensibilities might come into some kind of a rivalry. Yeah. And on the 15th, also, no, that's not here. The 15th, I need to go to the next chart. So let me get the next chart for you for the 15th, and that's going to be here. The 15th to the 18th is here. Now, the 15th, we have the Sun in Aries. And that's going to be square Jupiter in Capricorn on the red line. And that will cause being blunt with friends, being blunt. With friends and family, and even, you know, your customers or clients or other people might create trepidation in those who place a very high value upon being just and having superior moral character. Okay? So they might become anxious if they have a high, if they place a lot of worth on being very, you know, being very just and having superior morals to other people, and you're too blunt with them, they might, you know, it might get anxious. Okay, and on the 18th, we have on the 18th. Still on the top chart, we have Mercury in Aries is going to be a sextile Venus in Gemini on the green line. So Mercury in Aries, sextile Venus in Gemini on the green line. And that is going to cause making up your mind quickly in a speedy fashion without thinking things through. Helps in intuitive realizations during causal conversations with others. Okay? And on the 19th, we have the 19th to the 21st on this chart. So on the 19th, we have Mercury in Aries. Sextile Mars in Aquarius. Mercury in Aries, sextile on the green line, Mars in Aquarius. And that's going to cause employing a fast decision-making technique. Helps to win in social, sales, or marketing contests. So if it's your goal to win some kind of contest, it's like a marketing contest or a sales contest or some kind of social gaming situation, if you're doing it because you want to win a gaming situation or a contest for either fun or even for a prize, or because it's your job or something and you have to do it, you know, if it's for financial or just because you want to, then April 19th, that Mercury in Aries sextile Mars in Aquarius is when that will be the time to do that, on the 19th, because that will be, if you're good at, you know, making fast decisions, you know, or you enjoy it. And, you know, just because you might even be someone that makes fast decisions, but you might be someone who likes to sit with things and contemplate for a while so the emotions don't get in the way if it's something where you don't have to make a quick decision. But if you have to make a quick decision, the 19th of April 2020 is the day to do that. And on the 21st, still on this chart here, we have the Sun in Taurus, the bull, square on the red line, Saturn in Aquarius, and that will cause a building up of spiritual, moral, emotional, physical power deters the quantity and incidence of wacky people showing up in your life. So basically, if you build up your spiritual nature, your emotional strength, and your physical power, it's going to deter people and dissuade people, and dissuade too many of them and too frequently that are kind of nutty or wacky showing up in your life. It'll cause that to not be so frequent of an occurrence. All right? All right, now we're going to go to the 25th of April. And we're going to get the next chart for that for you here. All right. All right, now we have on the 25th, we have here on this chart, we have Mercury in Aries. Mercury in Aries and square Pluto retrograde in Capricorn on the red line there. And that is going to cause hyperbolic thinking, creates apprehension in people who pride themselves on leading very tranquil existences. So that's not a time when you want to have over-the-top thinking or conversations with people who you want to, hang around with you. You don't want to, and who are tranquil sorts. That's not the day to do that. Okay, so on the 25th, if you want someone who's serene to be around you for whatever reason, it's a time to try to be serene along with them. Doesn't mean you have to change your personality. It depends on what you want. It's up to you. But just so you know, if that's what you're looking for, that's when that will be beneficial for you. Now, on the 26th of April, 2020, we have here on this chart, we have Mercury in Aries. Mercury in Aries here. Aries the ram, square on the red line, Jupiter in Capricorn, the goat. And that causes making rash choices, shatters the nerves of people who put great worth in the virtues of impartiality and superior morality. Okay? Again, the sort of people who see themselves as above others, it's going to make people nervous if you make your decisions too quickly. But remember, there were times when you might want to do that. So it's all about being very precise. As they say, the devil is in the details. Okay? That's who does the dirty work. The devil does the dirty work, and that's where the details are, and that's where you really can find out exactly how a miracle works, or how magic works, or how you manifest things by those little details that you pay attention to and you're strict with yourself about. Okay, now and you take the time to find out, and to look it up and to I provided it for you here. So if you research it, it's here for you. You can apply it and you can do very well. Now on the 26th, we have the Sun in Taurus, conjunct Uranus in Taurus, conjunction there in the bull, and that's fortifying one's self with vim and vigor. It's going to greatly assist leaders who want to discourage sudden mutiny within their own organizations. So you understand about that. That could be very important to leaders who want to maintain power. Okay? Now, on the 28th of April, 2020, we have another chart for you here, and we have Mercury in Taurus here. Square on the red line, Saturn in Aquarius. That causes having stubborn points of view on many important matters, prevents the amount and occurrence of manifesting weird people in your life. So if you're more opinionated and more stubborn about important things in your life, you'll have less frequency and occurrence and less amount of weird people manifesting into your life, which you consider weird. Everybody considers somebody else weird. Like a person who's interested in magic might think someone who's interested in sports is weird. And the person who's interested in sports might think the person who's interested in magic is weird. It's just who's ever different from you. But you understand what it's saying. If you stick to your guns about obey your own rules is what we're trying to say here. Obey your own rules. Be strict with yourself about your own opinions and what's important to you, and follow your own rules. Do it consistently, and then people that that are really not in your tribe won't show up so much. You'll meet people more in your tribe, more like you. All right. So now we're going to go ahead and just look at the Hebrew letters. I'm sorry, not the Hebrew letters. The Hebrew terms, the constellations, the Hebrew constellations, and we're going to just talk about for the zodiac, the Hebrew zodiac in Hebrew is Mazzaroth, and we're going to go ahead and take a look at the ingresses and the new moon and the full moon, and we're going to just give you that quickly. So we have the sun. We use the word shemesh. These days you can use hama. We like to use shemesh. Ingress, Taurus, or Shor. Shor is a constellation, Hebrew constellation. Shemesh is for the sun. The full moon, Lavana, for moon. And for the full moon, Keseh, Shabbat, Mashiach. And in Libra is Moznaim. And the new moon, again, moon Lavana. And the new moon, the Hedemon, Rosh Kadesh, will be in Taurus. And Taurus is Shor. And I believe it means bull, if I'm not mistaken. And Mercury, remember, there's 2 ingresses for Mercury, okay, in April 2020. So Mercury is Kokav, or Kokab. Ingress Aries. Aries is Tale. So Mercury Kokav, when it ingresses Taurus, it is Shor. And Venus is Noga. Venus is Noga. Ingress Gemini, Teomim. And remember, Venus can also be associated with Hathor. And you see where angels come from, and planets and all of that, and the winged, the wanderers and those things which are flying around have wings. So you see where these things come from. So Venus is Noga, and Gemini is Teomim. Gemini the twins is Teomim in Hebrew. And Mars is Ma'adim. And Mars is not going to have any ingresses this month. And Jupiter is called Zedek, and it's not going to have any ingresses in April 2020. And Saturn is called Shabbatai, and there's no ingresses this month. But again, the goddess Ma'at is for Saturn, and it's Shabbatai for the Hebrew word, for the Hebrew planet. Uranus, the Hebrew word is Oron, and for Neptune is Rahab. And Pluto, there is no Hebrew word, and there is no ingress this month. Now keep in mind that achieving goals and accomplishing phenomenal success through astrology, angel magic, supernatural interventions are all possible if one knows when and whom to evoke. Magicians must also consider how various planetary and zodiacal angelic beings will interact with each other, making sure to invoke potent forces of light that will extend into facets of the Magi's life predetermined by her or him for specific purposes in alignment with one's true will. Magic must be taken seriously since it is an ancient method of manifestation intended for practical victories over constricting forces which set our 3D reality into motion. Magic has rules, and the goddess Ma'at and the planet Saturn are all about rules. And the planet Shabbatai, again, goddess Ma'at, all about rules. Saturn, the 42 laws of Ma'at, probably where the 10 Commandments came from. Magic has rules just like any other science, which must be devotedly applied to practice. Magicians strive not to break natural laws, but rather to understand how Mother Nature manifests her creations so that we are able to work in tandem with her. The information found in this document is based on the oral tradition known as Kabbalah, taught to me by Rosicrucian clergy when I was but a young girl, the facts of which I have committed to memory. Thank you for joining us, and please join us again.